Hi. All right, what are we doing? What are we doing? Okay, getting back to it. I have. This is not helpful. Okay, cool. The morning stream, I did this, which means that I have this server.j. I wonder if it's like currently running. Get out of this. All right, so we are in an other state because this thing crashed. And I think, yeah, great. So I'll bring things back up again. Oh yeah, and I like cleared out my database by accident. Oh, that's the worst. All right, so I'm gonna bring everything back up again. Maybe it's time to do like schema loading because it is really annoying to do what I'm about to have to do now. But I think I can demo this really easily. So I have this scgi server.j, which hard codes a response here. And if I hit my localhost at port 7000, you'll see I get this hard coded 42. And if I change that to like hello and save, reload, we get hello. So critically, that happened without, like this is, I didn't have to rebuild anything manually. The server knew to just like rebuild itself, which was pretty fun. We accomplished that with this development scgi server. I'm gonna like, I'll revert, right? So now it says 42 again, reload the page, we get 42 again. Cool, and we get that here with this development handle, development scgi server run, which has this development like handle procedure. And then in here, on every single request, we are creating a workspace for handling the request. We're setting it as a no output workspace. We are loading the entire code base into it. And then we're injecting this to just run the default handle. And we're relying on the fact that these all run within the same process so that we can just toss exactly the file descriptor in here that we received. And default handle is defined in here. Which parses the request body and everything like that, and then just like writes a response back to the same file descriptor, and then it closes the connection, which finishes that off. So, and then this thing just like runs it, it sort of prints and then continues on errors, and then it breaks and tries to clean itself up. It's got like a pool allocator. There's some resource leak happening somewhere that's like not obvious to me how it's happening. But you can see every time we reload the page, we get two workspaces created because there are two requests that happen on reload. One is for the content itself, one's for the favicon. If I reload this, we'll see created workspaces 10 and 11. We see the 42 is here. Life is good. If I continue reloading, by the time we hit workspace, like 41 is what it looked like. The thing crashes. And I think that's easy. I think so I have no idea how to fix that. I asked around in Discord, and they said it was probably a compiler bug. So I reported that, and now it's on to, I think step one is like docker compose spec. Yeah, I think I want to read this because I think I want to like document that this thing needs to be like restarted. Restart policy, restart on, this sounds pretty good. Alright, restart if the exit code indicates an error sounds pretty good. Yeah, maybe I'll make it unless stopped. That sounds like a solid choice. Or maybe I can restart on failure. That sounds good to me. Okay, so docker compose. I'm going to say workspace is here. Restart on failure sounds pretty good to me. And I'll bring that up. It's recreating. Can check these logs. Hopefully it'll say it's awaiting connections. This sure is taking a while. Okay, cool. And then if I just like reload this page 20 times. They get slower. And now if I refresh again, it should get killed. Oh, yeah, killed. Cool. And then it gets restarted and run, and we're awaiting connections again. Okay, so that one crapped out in the middle, and, you know, I can live with that for now. It's, like, good enough. It's a solid workaround while I wait to hear back on my bug report. Which, I don't even know if it's a bug. Like, I mean, maybe calling it a bug is realistic, but boy, if I were developing this compiler, I would not, I certainly wouldn't have designed this with the expectation that people, I mean, like, these workspaces are really clearly designed for something like this, where we want to create a workspace for the final executable that we can configure properly and run. We maybe want to create a second or third workspace for like running tests or doing some static analysis or something. And then that's like it. And like maybe we're delivering like 2 artifacts or something. Like there's like a client and a server or something. So we think like maybe we've got like 6 workspaces total. That's all. But like there's no way that like if I were developing this server, this compiler, this like entire framework, that I'd be like, cool, so people are just going to be creating arbitrarily many. I mean, like literally, we spin up an SCGI server with this linked into it. SCGI server is just an infinite loop spinning up servers and calling handle. So like, I don't know. If I were designing this compiler, that would be low on my list of like expectations that someone would be leaving the compiler spinning forever, creating new workspaces and compiling more code and arbitrarily many workspaces. That's, I mean, calling that a bug even is a stretch, but that's how I'm hoping to use it. Maybe it'll work. Okay, so I'm going to save this, change this Docker Compose. Have workspace restart when killed to work around like workspaces bug. Alright, and then another thing that I realized when I was working on this is that I have this like repo for the Docker containers that I'm running that I kept on tweaking, and then I didn't like push changes I made to it. I added curl and lsof and whatever. This is good enough. Yeah, let's like expose a port, add some debug tools. Okay, I felt like I should really push that up to make my development environment obvious. All right, so what's next? We got to do like actually like the stuff now, right? So we have this development SCGI server run. It just hooks into this development handle, which hooks into the default handle defined here, and the default handle that's defined here, you know, just does this 42. So like in terms of sneaking more behavior in, it's easy to imagine here like we could change it, you know? We could like wrap this up in some structure, yeah? What is the structure though? So the way that Rails handles this, which has been like a useful, if not the only like thing, but like the way that a lot of the modern, get out of here. The way that a lot of these things work is like you have like a routes file. Yeah, and you like how does it start? You like routes do it's like something like this. And then you have like, oh, this should probably just be RB. Shouldn't it? Oh, there. Yeah, and then you do like resources, like root to home or something. Well, that's not important though. So you have like resources. So we're writing a to-dos app, right? So resource me or like user, current user, let's say, only show, and you can do like resources, to-dos, only like index. Update, like new, create, edit, update. And so like what these two things describe is like we have like get current user, we have like a get request for to-dos, a get request for to-dos slash like ID, a get request for to-do slash ID, or whatever, to do new, a post for, right, okay, and this is gonna get mapped to like a current user's controller slash show. And this is gonna map to like a to-dos controller, and an index action, to-dos controller, get action. I don't know. Maybe anything more than that is getting a little bit boring. Maybe I'll fill out, edit, and update. That seems worthwhile. Edit, and then we have like a, it's usually a patch, I think, on that to update. Okay, so I think this is like the conventional set of routes that you get from describing this much. And that seems cool, but it's also wrapped up in like a lot of like Rails-y inference of things. It also has support. You can just do like a get. Like you can like do like something like this. There's like a lot that you can do that way. This seems like I honestly think this is like an excellent like aspirational API to get to. And then this is kind of cool too. Like within a to-do, you can do like resources, tags only, let's say like index. And so this says that you can also support like a get to-do slash ID slash tags, controller, index. You know, it's like, it's nice, right? You can like nest things this way, and so this might describe like getting all the tags for a specific to-do. Yeah, okay. So how do we want to like possibly handle this? For one thing, like we don't have like objects and classes, so like we can't have a controller class. Wow, apparently it's like pouring down rain like 2 miles from me and completely clear where I am. Is it even supposed to rain today? Oh, scattered. Okay. Yeah. East Coast weather, man. Total chaos in the summer. Okay, and then let me like remember, I feel like I'm curious how like Phoenix routes work, because I think it was very similar, but Phoenix is curious in the ways that it is like totally, yeah, okay. Like this, like Phoenix is like clearly inspired by frameworks like Rails, right? But it like doesn't quite have as much interpolation, and it's not as metaprogrammable and dynamic as Ruby. So like exactly like resources slash users, and you describe the thing, and then I think it allows you to nest. And it gives you all these path helpers. Yeah, exactly. Okay, cool. So you gotta like at least list the controller. Yeah. So I think to start with, like get and then some route, and then this defines basically a function that gets called. And I think, you know, that's a great syntax to start with, right? Like it'll just be get and then a path and then let's get like a little aspirational maybe. So like an easy starting point is going to be, well, this is curious. So there's like maybe at least one other thing that we might want to draw inspiration from, which is like, I think like Java, like Spring. Is that what people use these days? Is that like the good? I don't know. I feel like people liked Spring. The last time I even like, knew about it, people writing server-side Java was like 5 years ago. Yeah, Spring Boot. But people love it, and you just like annotate a class and method with like that, yeah. So maybe that's worth like describing as well. Like there's this like Java style of like Spring Boot, like REST controller, class controller. I don't know, maybe you need this too. Who knows? Like a get mapping of like slash current user public. What do we even return? Yeah. Or whatever. Which this is like interesting in the way that it like, I don't know. It's like there's a trade-off here, right? So like this is like cool in the way that it like you define your API and this set of routes that you support and everything alongside the functionality. But there's a downside. So I think one of the reasons that frameworks like Rails and Phoenix split route definitions from implementations of those routes is about like code loading and performance. So conversely, like Sinatra looks a little bit more like this. Okay, let's like talk through. So we got like Ruby, or we got like Rails. Has like a routes file. We've got Sinatra, which is also Ruby. This is maybe like Spring, Java Spring. Okay, so Sinatra and like Node is that like a Phoenix is very similar to this. Okay, and then Sinatra, you do like a Sinatra like app. I don't know. How does it work exactly? There's like a DSL for it. And you just like, exactly. You just like send messages like this and it describes your API. So you do like get slash current user do here and like return user dot current dot name. Yeah. Except that's like, yeah, it's like a string. So that'll get rendered back to this to the user as a string. So it's cool that this like merges the implementation and the behavior and the route description. Right, and you could also in either of these do like one of this like get slash to dos. Anyway, so this is kind of neat, and it's cool in terms of scannability, that if you don't know anything about this, you can pretty easily make out like, oh, there's a get request, there's to-dos, we'll do something with them. Like, I like it. This API speaks very clearly. But, like, I don't know, there's this whole, like, you gotta, like the show action involves, like, format strings, which I've never loved. Like, this is weird to me. It's like I forget exactly the syntax, but it's something like this. I don't love that. I don't know, maybe like that. Like I don't love it. And then the real issue, though, in my experience at least, is that this really backs you into a corner where, since these two things are coupled, and this is built up using a series of like procedural mutations, you've got to load your like entire. So okay, like Rails has a really positive quality to it, that the runtime can load just the routes file and then use this declarative stuff to figure out like, and even if you like if you want to specify a custom controller for one of these, like maybe you want to have like a different controller for like the tags returned by a specific to do. That's like fine. So you can like specify a controller name, so this won't go to like the tags controller, it'll go to the to do tags controller. But there's this really positive quality here that these routes are like comfortable living in isolation, you can load and process just the routes file, which is like fixed and going to be pretty easy, without having to transitively load like every single file in your entire code base the way that you need to for the Sinatra app, right? Because like you load this whole thing, you're going to encounter all these symbols about like where is like params, where's like user defined, where's anything defined, and like you can, in like who knows how many different files, extend your Sinatra app with additional gets, where like you often want to organize your code better, split up this definition. And in like the Java Spring case, like this is just, you got to load every single controller class to figure out like, well, have I defined the get mapping in that I care about yet in particular? And in J, maybe that's like pretty easy to manage, because, right, like one of the assumptions that I was making here is that it's like, for now at least, I don't have like dynamic loading or anything. Main just like loads like every single interesting file that I have here. So maybe we just can't really do any better. This is like, this is gonna be it. But I don't know. Part of me doesn't want to, like, I think I feel bad about knowingly going down a path which I understand has an optimization ceiling. And I think that's how I'd characterize like this approach, is that like just the development experience is it's gonna suck. Where this one is capable of being pretty good with a little like inference, with a little like type inference business, and autoloading. And who knows how autoloadable this is ever going to be. Like one of the nice things about Rails is that they have like a very thick grain size to autoload based on, which is the name of the class. Rails demands that your Ruby files follow a convention of like, this controller must be defined in a file name called current users controller.rb. There's like no way around it. Which some people hate that you gotta like, that it has an opinion like that. I tend to feel like that's like a worthwhile constraint, because it means that your developer experience can be solid even as your code base grows. It's like a pretty compelling answer as far as I'm concerned for dev productivity. Anyway, it's complicated, and I think I like having this is the API, and that links out to the actual procedures that things get linked to. I think I like that. The other thing is, and we've really been hacking this in a weird way so far, but like, all right, let's get at some like possible J syntax. So, okay, like we might say, like, let's just call like routes draw, right? So I don't think this is a great idea. Sounds like a pretty bad move. But let's just like start this out. Let's like see where we get. So we could just say like get current user to map this to. Well, you know what? Like let's just like, what would this look like in J? Yeah. Oops. Actually, you know what? I might as well save this somewhere, yeah. Alright, let's go throw this in my notes. J routes, router API ideas. What's today's date? 7/08. Alright, let's pull this in here. Okay, great. So yeah, for the J ideas that we've got, maybe like this, and then like what is this like current users controller? Who knows, right? So like this is one thing, right? We could do like a get. Right, return users repo dot like whatever. Yeah. And this feels pretty similar to like we talked about like in here, yeah, like user.current.name, user.repo.current.name. Yeah. And so then this then is this like what does this like resource look like? This is almost certainly a macro, I think. Um, we're passing code in, it almost certainly like just about has to be a macro. I don't know. Let's like think through. Let's like start here. Okay, and then like resources. So we could just like duplicate the structure, right? Resources, to dos. It's gonna get like only index. Like only. Um, Wait, but this has like a bunch, yeah. Okay, so only. It's going to support like index, new, index show. Oh yeah, this is supposed to be show, isn't it? Okay, new, create, edit, update. Yeah. It's interesting, like there's no cute like block given syntax like this in J. So it's like not obvious to me exactly like the correct way to like nest. But whatever. Let's just call this like children. Maybe like some new lines could help. Nested, let's say. So there's this. Okay, and then what would we need to know here? Like only, there's like at least 2 implementations of resources and only takes either a list or an individual. It's pretty easy to imagine cutting this corner. Alright, we should at least list the controller, yeah. That, and this is gonna be like to-dos controller. That's like bringing us into something that's like at least like reasonable, right? And then we'll need like current, like to-dos controller. And this could be to-do tags controller. Yeah. Okay, and then this one's gonna need index. It's gonna be like all of these is like separate methods or separate procedures defined in the namespace. Yeah. I don't know. Is this good? Is this cool? So I don't know if this is even gonna work, and especially like I found that like J struggles in situations like this where we're making like repeated, like this describes like repeated mutation here to some like parent concept, which almost certainly results in code being generated. Right, because what these things say is like go add something to some, well, I don't know, right? Like maybe these are like mutating some hash table, and like the hash table is returned by draw routes here, and like it's really not so bad. But this like definitely rubs me a little weirdly. Okay, so let's like try, like concretely, I'm thinking like passing in a code block to like establish a DSL to mess with feels very Ruby and not very J at all. So what could feel like more J-like? Maybe we take like a var args. Like always erases types, which makes me feel pretty bad. So like the way that we got around. All right, let's like write it out how we might with var args, and we'll figure it out from there. So like. Okay. Well, yeah, right. We just like this. And then nested here is going to be, I guess, like an array with these things. But these can't be, These almost certainly can't be like that. What am I thinking? Like, you can't like string literal, you can't like array literal structs that are the return value of a thing. Like this would like maybe have to do something like that, but that feels pretty bad to me. I think maybe we just like sneak them in here, yeah? I wonder, like, I don't know, labeling these can't hurt. And then like there's like no nested ones there, but there are here, so we can just nest like resources for tags. And there's nothing nested in here. No code. So like this is like a little bit more declarative. That's like neat. What do we think about this? Yeah. 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 Alright, let's go in another direction, because this, I don't know, doesn't strike me as like very fun. This doesn't strike me as, like first of all, I'm very skeptical that, like I think what happens here is that like the varargs, the types get erased, and then all we can do with them is like type info stuff, and then we lose most of like the value of like statically typing everything the way that I'd hope to. Which, cause like it'd be neat. Like one thing that I'd love is like you could glue together like this string constant, which we know about, and then this struct type constant, which we know about. Generate code that says like, you know, the like case statement or whatever, the hash, however we like implement routing, is gonna figure out like that's gonna map from current user to some procedure that's glued, that's like resulting from gluing these things together. Like it'd be cool if we could like statically generate that, right? Or like even statically generate, like there's some pretty slick demos that were in like JCompiler talks that I watched back before that were describing an API that were like, it was like the run commands in like a game editor engine or something, where you could do like command like I don't know, whatever. I forget even like what kinds of things you might do in a game engine, right? But if it's like merge meshes or something was like a cool thing, and it was like mesh name like this or something. You could just do this, and then it would like inspect this whole struct and like do cool stuff. And then like in added strings, it was like you know, process command was like a generated thing with like it just like did like this and like I don't know, args. Like I can't remember exactly how this worked, but then it had just like for each thing decorated with command, it would be like, you know, if command name like it would like do something cool like this. And like this all was like generated, and it was like really cute, and it gave you like this was like in some ways kind of a useful artifact where like one of the upsides in this Ruby world is that you like there's like a number of upsides. One is related to code loading, and another is related and like performance of the development experience and stuff. Another is related to like as a developer, I think that there is some value here being like what is the API by which we might access like to-dos. This is like helpful. What's our surface area? What's like the apps like set of routes? And in Rails you have this, but this can get like pretty cumbersome. And then there's like a usually a rake task that you could run like Rails routes or rake routes, and it tells you, it gives you like this basically, and it tells like what are the actual route names, what are all the controllers that you hit. Those are pretty useful reports. I felt like when I was watching that stream, this was like an interesting report. This was like a compelling piece of code here. And I don't know, maybe the fact that this is happening, maybe J is different enough from like a Java or like a Ruby in Sinatra land that I don't know, maybe it's not so bad to have something that looks more like this or realistically more like this, like an annotation based one. I don't I don't hate it. I don't hate it. Um Okay, so let's like try another one. So like what am I thinking here? This is like make it look like Rails routes, and then this next one is like make it look like Rails routes but more plausible. J. And then I don't know, I feel like a new idea here is like, okay, it's like inspiration, my fuzzy recollection of the J game engines editor command API. Alright, and so now we'll try make it look like a Spring or a game engine editor commands. Alright, so now how that look in this world is like we'd have just like some like controllers slash like whatever. Well, I don't know, right? So like what do they call it in Spring? Call it get mapping on a REST controller. I don't know, let's just call this like route current user. And we could do like get current user show users repo dot current dot name. Yeah. So like that's like something, I don't know. And then like if we wanted to do like all this functionality up here, we would need like route like tag or to-dos. To-dos index. And I don't know, leave the implementations out for now. To-dos slash new. Okay, I think this is like pretty predictably going in a certain direction. Okay, like maybe like, what about like a little bit of resource grouping? RESTful structure. So maybe I have like resource user. Maybe we have like the singular and plural. I feel like that's like cute. That's like helpful enough in Ruby. So the use resource current user, and we'll define a structure called like current user controller. Yeah, like stick this. Resources to-dos. There's like an index action, like a show action, etc. I think that this feels like considerably better to me. You know, at least like grouping these things together. And it does also reduce a lot of sort of like redundant boilerplatey stuff in terms of like these, where we need to like list out like what are the actions that we support, because like these structs are just going to have or not have these like symbols defined for them. Yeah. Yeah, and then I figure the JCompiler is pretty clever at like avoiding work it doesn't have to do. So, like if no code ever like actually calls like index, right? But this code pass will almost certainly exist. I feel like maybe worrying about the optimization fence is like premature because like parsing all of the entire code base is I think cheap in J, and it seems credible to me that if the entire code base, we're not like building a library or a binary even, right? We're configured for no output in our dev server, which means that it seems like entirely plausible that the compiler will be smart. It'll scan all the symbols, hit our like run directive to handle the request, which will traverse straight to this like index action based on the route matching somehow, and then like just forget about compiling all the rest of the stuff because who needs it? It's not reachable. That seems like a maybe. That might be how this thing works. I can imagine a suitably clever compiler that would hop over some of the implementation, some of the complexity there. Okay. I think maybe this is fine. Maybe this is fine. Maybe this is just fine. I feel pretty good about this. This feels like a neat API. Oh, this has been like 40 minutes of me just like hypothesizing potential APIs I might consume, huh? All right, I need like a few minutes of bio break. So I'm gonna step away just for a sec. But I will be back in a few minutes. All right. Let's get back to it, huh? Cool. So I think this feels pretty good to me. This feels pretty good to me. It also sounds like a kind of thing that it would be easy to walk back from a pattern like this to a pattern like if I do get to a point where I realize that my optimism about like, you know, the compiler lazily only really generating bytecode for the bits that it has to, it seems like it would be easy to walk back towards like a, I don't know, like this, and like current, where you'd have like, you'd list like files and stuff, and you could say like I don't even know. I don't know. Where you could like describe like something like this and like to-dos and like, or it seems easy enough to say like we start at something like this, which seems like a pretty nice developer API. And if things get slow, it's like not hard to either have like a precompiler pass that's going to generate code based on this that looks like this or something, and then when we're like continuing and hot reloading and things like that, we like do less, or we'll just like pull this out and create like a routes file and work this way, like, right? Maybe necessary for performance, dev server performance, in the future. And like this would let us say like, okay, so these are all going to be like, oh, I guess like making this a struct sounds like no good, but like whatever. We could say, I guess struct literals generated this way are probably fine, but then we would know like, so this is going to say this will result in like loading that file and like seeking out this symbol, and then attaching like this mapping will link to the procedure that like does those things, and that we could like have our dev server loop. Like it would know here to add, instead of main as a build file, it could add like the appropriate controller as a build file. That could happen, you know, we could figure that out. You know, okay, I think I feel fine with, for now, let's just say we've got, let me write just like a controller, and I'm gonna call it like to-dos controller .j. It's gonna be like a struct. We're gonna use the struct just to get like a namespace. I don't think J has a concept of like a namespace, other than these like structs. And we'll say, I feel like we'll call it like resource to-dos. I think this has to come after, doesn't it? No, I think that was a typo. Are you also in the JBeta? Didn't know this had to be before. I think that can't be before the declaration now. Yeah. I was when I was like reading this, I read some Java code and stuff, and in Java, the annotation comes before. This is what I was looking at. But this is wrong. Yeah, I think this is like closer to correct syntax, but I've like kind of forgotten. Right, yeah, it comes after a declaration. Cool. Okay, so I think it's supposed to look more like this. Yeah. Okay, so the to-dos controller. Let's start with just like an index action, and it's just gonna return. For now, let's just return like whatever. Okay, and we need We need like a lot. I need like a lot of machinery now to like glue this action and this string into something that we can handle from our SCGI server's handle method. How are we going to glue this all together? And like, how do we do any of this? Okay. Why don't I start actually and say, I'll just try to like directly call this. I'm gonna print out that, and then I'm gonna format in to-dos controller index, and like make sure that like this code even like exists. Worrying that it's taking this long. Yeah, what is happening here? Have we crashed? Compiler error. Okay, cool. Oh yeah, my code's not even close to good. Oh, interesting. So we get a compiler error. I think I've already run into a big problem here. So if we hit a compiler error in building this whole workspace, I think we never close the connection. I think we should fix that. Let's say close that descriptor. Yeah, I don't know. That seems like a bad idea as well. Oh, I did say colon index that it should be a dot. Yeah, okay. Yep, good call. Thanks. I bet I had other problems too. Oh, what? Okay, something happened. We timed out, and if I reload to-dos controller dot index, I'm not importing this anywhere. Let's load controllers. Oh yeah, this has to return a string. I have a lot of problems here, don't I? I think someday I'm going to learn the syntax of this language in a convincing way. All right, we got this, whatever. It came back out. Life is good. I think I'm going to like re-up my Docker container with a more reasonable error handling strategy. Did I throw the close in here? Yeah, I think I want that. All right, let's... I wonder if like... Yeah, whatever, get rid of that. Yep. Okay, and bring it back up. And reload. Whatever is here. Okay, cool. We're back. Things are working. Great. Okay. I'm going to get rid of that for now. Okay. So at least these like pieces of code can talk to each other. That's kind of nice. What do we do now? I need like a router. I feel like I need a router. Yeah. I'm gonna need to mess with this build in order to like generate some stuff. Although this build, oops, is the same one in server. And I need to make sure that like these things stay in sync pretty well. Okay. And like I'm gonna need here to like somewhere I'm gonna need to say, and is it, oops, get that out of there. In here? Alright, so like somewhere I'm gonna define this behavior that like, right, like in here maybe, like if message.kind gets like type checked is where, I think that's right, is where I can like intercept, did I do that already? No. I thought I had some annotations going somewhere before. But it's like around here is when I'll be able to like inspect the mess with the nose and like generate routes. And I think I'm gonna need to like duplicate this logic over here, aren't I? right? Like, and we need to share like metaprogram ideas between the like development server. It's like a little rough. It's a little rough. Is that the end of the world? It's not the end of the world. Yeah, let's just like, let's try, right? Right, and like here also has a copy pasta. I should probably call that out. Copy pasta between like from build.j and server.j. Yeah. Man, I don't know if I love I don't know if I love any of the choices I've made so far. Maybe I'll keep pushing along and see how it goes. Okay, so is type checked really it? Is this like the, yeah. And like, we can iterate over the declarations and find notes. Yeah. Just do the thing you'll see later, exactly. Yeah, I gotta try something. Alright, so like for message dot declaration. Oh yeah, type checked message. Cool, okay. Type checked message. And then for each declaration, I want to mess with the notes. Yeah. Yeah. Mess with the notes. Okay. And then, like, I totally have a SQL expression note. Yeah. Alright. And I have to do some, like, nonsense here with, like, the prefix and the suffix and, like, parsing it. Which I don't love. But I think I need to like duplicate some of this like stuff. Maybe I'll like create like a little notes helper. I wonder. There's no like there was that talk about fancier note processing stuff, but we didn't. Nothing came of that, right? Yeah. Like as far as I know, you can't like define like have notes define like a typed struct and stuff. It doesn't like that doesn't help. I have to like parse strings myself. It's not coming right now. Yeah, that's what I figured. Alright, let's like have too much on screen at one time. Okay, so call like match node. And like node prefix, node. And like node. And probably like success boolean. Maybe actually this should be like, yeah, this is fine. Okay, so I mean, this is like a real must, isn't it? These feel like musty. Okay, so I want like this, and then I want this. So like most of this is like the little bit of functionality that I'm doing. Okay. Oh, and is it like... Yeah, that's right. Okay, cool. So here, if begins with, this is just note prefix. This is just note suffix. Example, match node, whatever. The example seems obvious to me. So I'm just trying to like parse notes more easily, and I have some code here that looks for a note that looks like SQL expression with a paren and an expression inside of it, and I just want to like apply that to this. Yeah, okay, so let's see, result. If yeah. Sounds about right. Okay, so we didn't find anything. Return that false. Break. Okay, great. So now the match is gonna be, so here if we have a result note, oh, maybe this like coalesces to, yeah, this feels pretty nice. I don't think I need the false business, because that coerces to truthy or falsy, since it's like set to 0 initially, I think. Alright, so if we have a result note, then slice it down to exactly. Slice it to like cut off the first note prefix count worth of characters and the last suffix count of characters. This is not, this should be called result note. Yeah, and then I think we'll just return this. And then this will pull out elsewhere. Okay, great. I don't think I need that anymore. I don't think I need that anymore. Okay. And then this business is all pretty well unit tested. So I feel pretty good about saying, like, here, if I have, like, a SQL expression, it's going to be, match note on member. That feels good. Match note, SQL expression, open paren, close paren, on member, yeah? Okay, so then, and then here I can say like if SQL expression, don't do any of this. Has note. Okay, this feels pretty good. Maybe this is like less interesting. This feels fine to me. Okay. Where am I? I got a bit lost. Great. I have member. I don't think I need has note. I think I can say like this. That's probably not great. I probably do want to return that. Okay, so here I'll say this has SQL expression note. If that, then sneak that in there. Otherwise, okay, this looks like the same behavior I had from before. Cool. And then, what else have I even changed? Did I do anything in here? Yeah, that close. Okay. Did I mess with server? No. Did I mess with build? No. Let me make sure that this like runs. Gonna run my test. Yeah, that's what I figured. Declarations is not a member of message in build.j. Oops. Isn't it? Oh yeah, that's supposed to be type check message. Let's just like print all them out. Let's just like do all that. Array bounds check failed. Uh-oh. What did I get wrong? Insert into users, email. Oh man, yeah, okay. This is when I need to recreate my whole schema that I accidentally dropped the other day, or earlier today. What do I want? I want repo to grab the connection string. And I just have to recreate a bunch of tables. Woof. Alright, create table users. You know, I should just like write all this down, huh? Alright, create users, and it's gonna add an ID, big serial, primary key. It's got an email of character varying, not null. It's got created at timestamp default now. It's got an updated at timestamp default now. And that's all. I need create table. What other repos do I have? Taggings. No, I gotta start with to-dos and then tags, and then I can get to taggings. Okay. Create table to-dos. Big serial, primary key, user ID, big int, not null, description, character varying, not null, completed at timestamp, and then the same created at and updated at. And then tags is similar. It's got the same user ID and description, but it doesn't have a completed at. Okay. These need foreign keys. I think I need some new lines. Let me like save this as like structure.sql in just like JRecord. That seems helpful. Okay, great. This is gonna help me a lot. Okay, create table, user ID, description, completed at. Man, I can't believe I haven't done this already. Oh, hello. You joined at a great, exciting moment. I accidentally dropped my database schema, so now I need to like remind myself. I need to recreate it, and I didn't write it down anywhere, so I have to type it all back in from hand. But this time, I'm doing it in a repeatable way. Alright, these need foreign keys. User ID. Okay, taggings, ID, big serial, primary key. I have done this enough times that like it's getting faster. User ID, no, taggings go from to do ID, big int, not null, to tag ID, and we need a foreign key. We need another foreign key. And we need a unique. That doesn't feel right. We'll see what happens. And then the last thing that we have is we have like recommended to-dos. And those are only used in test, I think. Yeah, because I am a big dum-dum. Okay, they look a lot like taggings, except they're between a to-do and a user. Alright, and now I think I should be able to say that. Is this gonna work? Huh? Huh? Hey! Great! I have a structure. I can load my schema now. Boy, that really improves my quality of life. Alright, so I need to pull in... oh, where do I need to pull this in? So... What did I call it? Tags? No, notes? Yeah, and source? Okay. But I might need it here as well? I don't think I messed with that yet. Alright, load source notes. Yeah, that's wrong. Just load regular notes.j. It's in the same directory. Oh yeah, it's not called boolean, it's called bool. One of these days, I'm gonna figure out the syntax. Note prefix dot count is non-constant. Oh, okay. Well, let's make it constant, huh? Well, that's curious. Well, oh, yeah. I think that's fine. It doesn't have to be constant. Uh-oh. Now what's happening here? Member SQL expression. Yep. Great. SQL select. This is no longer declared anywhere. Oops. This sounds about right. Okay. Member. Oh, it needs to be declaration.note. Yeah, yeah. Hey! All right. Okay, cool. Let's, I don't know, is notes, I don't know, what even has notes? It's this, in this case it's not a type info, is it? This is like a message type checked, yeah? So what do we have in a message type checked? We have code declaration. Which has flags, loads, notes, code note. Which has a text. Okay. What did we get? A bunch of test notes. Oh, do I still have these? Oh, this must be in. Oh, these are like modules. I forget that that happens. That's worrying. But okay, so we can figure out, we got resource to-dos. Man, that's a bummer. Okay, so I don't know if we're going to be able to share, like, this match note, because there are, like, different APIs here, right? Like, member.notes is just strings, and, like, code, like a declaration.notes is, like, this code note struct. Yeah, because like type info, what is this in? It's in like preload. Like this just has strings. We do not have polymorphism here. So bummer. Alright, so this is going to be slightly less reusable. Whatever. Let's do, so this declaration now is going to be hard-coded as like a type info struct. Member. Yeah, and that's like I'm using like a pointer to it. Yeah. Oh no, I'm getting a like an actual proper one. Does this still work? Yes. Great. Okay. And then I need like a similar version of this that's going to operate on a, and this should just be called member now. And now this is going to take one that is not a type info struct member, but a code note, which comes from a code declaration. Yeah. I'm like 99% sure that's what I'm looking at here. Yeah, the code declaration. Yeah. Okay. And is it a pointer to one? Like, what do I get on a message type checked? Oof, the thunder is starting by me. You should know. You should use pointers to type infos. Yeah, you're probably right. I've got a pointer to a code declaration here. I bet you're right. That sounds good to me. I don't think it really matters much one way or another. SQL select. Make it a... Well, I think it's just that it's like this is certainly a pointer to a type info. But when I get the members, I think it's like whatever. I think I can do like a this. Is that right? Type on in string, type given pointer to code note. Oh right, yeah. Okay, let me just comment this out for now. Yeah, okay, cool. Works with a pointer. It's a good move. No need to copy. This is just like a bunch of gunk to like copy around when there's like a canonical thing in memory anyway. Alright, so let's get the declaration version of it. For each note, this has got to be note.text. Yeah, okay. And then let me in here. Okay, great. I can do that. And I can say like, what am I looking for now? I wanted to call it like a resource. Like this. So, resource note, I don't know, body has resource note gets match note on resource, close paren, and declaration, yeah. If has resource note, print encountered with resource note body, let's say. Okay, that seems cute. That seems little. Match note, because I haven't loaded it here. This is like a bit worrying that we're pulling nodes this way. Yeah, okay. So we also need from main, we need strings. Okay, we found a resource called to-dos. And now what? First of all, I think I want to get rid of the quotes. I don't think that's helping. Great. Okay, let me get rid of this printing. I think this is unhelpful. Cool. We have resource to-dos. Alright, so what are we going to do with this? I guess I need to like add it to some like routing behavior somehow. Routes gets like something. What's this thing going to be? It's going to have like a name. It's going to be like path string. And it's going to be like controller, which is just like a type. Yeah, okay. And then routes is going to be a dynamic array of them. And here I'm going to array add 2 routes. Oh, and does this like... It's like not really like a capital T type now, is it? It's just going to be like a type name or something, probably. It's like a type info pointer. What do I get here? What do I get here? So it's a code declaration. And I hope... Wow, I have not messed much with this yet. So... I'm gonna need all this business, aren't I? I guess it's just gonna be like a code declaration. That seems about right, yeah. Okay. routes, and it's type. Do I get type? I feel like, how am I gonna get from? Oh, I thought I've struggled with type and type info pointers being actually like somewhat different. I think that they opaquely are kind of the same thing, but I was messing around a lot earlier with like modify directives, which only get type infos, and I couldn't get back to like the capital T type from it. I could only have type info pointers and like mutable nonsense, and it was like it was a real struggle for me. But I might just suck, you know. I might just not know how to do it. But I figure if I'm looking at a code declaration, like, there's no way that this is like actually a capital T type in this world, right? This is like the meta program. It's not going to have access to the like programs types because it's like defining them. It's like messing with them. I think it's going to have to be like this. And like, but I mean, I'll be able to look in at the expressions on the right hand side and like dig in, right? It's like the hopefully the root expression is like a struct, and then I can like iterate over the declared members inside that struct and like create actions for them for the ones that are procedures and stuff. But I think I want it to be like this. Remember, you can cast from type to type info. Yes, type is better if you want to compare, I guess, but it comes from inspecting a type check message, and then it's totally a code declaration. Yeah, that's what I figured. Yeah, it's easy to go from a type to a pointer to a type info, and I think there's currently just no way to go in the opposite direction, from what I've read, or at least from like my experimenting, which has been a problem for me. Okay, let's see. What am I doing here? Um, yeah. There are a lot of times in this language where I'm like, is there some like magic thing that I'm just unaware of? But I think the more that I play around with this like set of tools, the more that I'm like, uh, I mean, it's like a work in progress, right? It's like at every turn, I'm like, oh, this didn't come up yet in developing that game engine, so they haven't implemented that feature, but that it would be like super useful. Okay, I need to add something to an array. Um, I feel like I need to like new it, you know? I feel like I need to like construct in memory a new instance of route and add it to the array. No, because I don't have pointers here. I think I can just like throw it on. Yeah, so I think I'll be like route is this route dot, or maybe I can even go like, yeah, route dot path gets resource note body. I'll just call this path. Yeah, I don't know. That seems fine. And maybe this really wants to be like resource, huh? Then I'll have a path. This will be like resources. This will be resource. Okay. And then resource dot controller gets declaration. All right. I wonder if this declaration is even like does it like remain a valid pointer to things that I can mess with like later on, or am I gonna have to pull out from it the things that I care about later? I'll find out. I'm worried about memory management here. uh, I don't know. Let's throw that on there. I think there's like hope that this is gonna work, right? This is like a bunch of resources in memory. It's gonna set the path of the controller on them. This feels like it's like vaguely coherent. Okay, and then, oh yeah, it's like now when it's like done, I've gotta like emit. Actually, you know what? Like, how do you like? I want to like generate code for all these, but like only when it's like done. That's like not easy, is it? Um, I don't know. That's not it. I've read this like this is like a this essay I've read like over and over again. It's like a is it this one? Use the meta program to compile code in another workspace. Browse the code as it's being compiled. Generate new code based on what's how to complete the program. Yeah, this is it. At command is what I wanted to play with. Look for running hooks in the target workspace. Oh, you think that's the one? You think this is more helpful? I mean, I feel like this at command is almost like exactly what I care about, right? What do we do in message loop if we got type checked? Note struct, cast note struct at root expression. We ignore most. Oh, right, I see. Type checked all we can. Generate code. Generated code straight. Oh yeah, this seems right. This seems like what I want. I'm gonna grab this. Processed resources, let's say. Okay. Message.kind equals phase. All right. I think generated code is like generated routes. All right, and what does this generate code method look like? Method. What am I writing? Ruby still? Generate code. Whew. It's gonna sort. Oh boy. Entity storage. And then. Yeah, okay. I'm just gonna add a bunch of build strings. Great, okay. Yeah. I don't know. I'll do this in like a kind of a dumb way, I think. Like I'm not gonna build up a hash table or anything constant time. It's gonna be like a just like a case statement to start out with. That sounds easier. Generate routes on that workspace with these resources. Yeah. That seems fine. That seems fine. That seems fine. Okay. Resources. That's all wrong. That and workspace is, what is it? Just like a U, it's like an int, yeah? Oh, it's a capital W workspace. And I need to pull this type out then. Okay, this seems fine. Gonna push on with this. Okay, cool. So let's go. We're gonna define a method called. Yeah, all right. Okay, and then for resources, let me like, I got some like prefix for sure. Print to builder, handle, whatever, route request, path. I'll just have it return string for now. I don't know. This name is nonsense for now. I'm not too worried. That to string builder. Great. So then for each resource, and then I'm gonna print like let's like assert false. Unable to. Oh, maybe just like return like 404. Who knows? That seems like good enough. And then let's do like a closing brace and call it a day. Okay. Oh yeah, add build string, builder to string on string builder, to workspace, and here, I don't have to return anything. Okay, great. I think life is good. We've heard printing it. Okay, so for each resource, here's where things get super weird. Well, you know what? To-do's controller just has a single index on it, right? So let's say print to builder. Like, what's the code that we want to write in the end, right? So let's say like if. Oh yeah, okay. So if path equals to-dos, then I want to do a to-dos controller dot. I want to like, this is like really what I want to emit right now, and I probably want this to be like in a case statement, yeah. It's a cute shortcut. Maybe I'll loop back around to that. I don't think I know that trick. Use procedure call to avoid passing. Oh, cool. You can like, is that sort of like sort of an inline baking within the body of a single procedure? Like you can do like procedure call of print to builder with the pointer to the string builder in question and assign that to somewhere, and then just call PR over and over and over again. It's like cute currying. That is a neat trick. I think I'm going to stick with what I know to get it like working at all, and then I might do a pass of cleaning up that stuff. It's also like the amount of time that I've written like string builder, defer, blah blah blah, adds builder to string on something is like that like is like desperate to be a macro. And if it were a macro, then also bundling up this like if there were a cool procedure call to shorten it, like it would be awesome to define just like to pass in like a yield variable binding that's defined, or like a print or whatever, or like a PR or something. And then like we could like defer freeing the buffers, and we could just like have a result returned. I think that would be like kind of ideal, but one thing at a time. Okay, so resources, no, like it dot, what is it called? Path. So if that happens, then I need more indentation, and I want to return something dot index. It dot, and then this is, I think from this code declaration, here, I think I can look at, how do I find the left-hand side? Flattened expressions in the right-hand side. The root expression on the right-hand side. Is it this? No. Uh-oh. Clearly this is babies first. Oh, name? I feel like a name. Name is probably what I want. I don't know. Just call it it.name. Let's just give it like controller name here, maybe. Oh, that's not going to be enough. Okay, controller declaration. Alright, I want to do it.controller declaration.name. Let's say. Okay, now if I run this, what in the world possibly happens here? Controller is not a member of resource. Of course it's not. Counter resources to-dos. We parse the declaration. We saw this instead. Handle requests with resources. Yep. I'm always missing semicolons. What in particular though? Added strings W3. I forgot about all these workspaces. What line number am I on? 796. Oops. It's the very bottom. Okay. I'm obviously missing some new lines. But I don't know, this seems close to what I want. Alright. Return that dot index, add a new line here. New line, new line, new line, new line, new line. The path argument has no type. Oh yeah, that's easy. Thanks! Great stuff, great stuff. I promise I've written code before. Alright, we built. How does that added strings look? Okay, this looks like syntax. This looks plausible. Okay, and now if I look at my server, and this default handle, so here, I feel like I really want to do this now. Alright, so, I forget, let me print out my, I'm going to print headers again. Header equals index it. Yeah, okay. I think I might need to restart for that to take effect. I might not though. Let's see. How do I look at my logs? Really? Docker oh no, I'm in the entirely wrong thing. Alright, what did I get? Cool, I have headers listed. I want request URI. Okay. So I want response to be equal to, what did I call it? Handle request with resources. On headers of that. Is that, could that possibly be it? And I think I need, oh yeah, response body, let's say. For now. Okay, okay, okay. Bad gateway. What'd we get? Handle request with resources, undeclared identifier. Of course. Okay, so now this is the weird part, is that I added that to build.j, which I suspect will mean that we've added this now to like the actual like generated like binary. But this isn't the build path that we use like per request. The per request build path is defined in here. So which like this part sucks for now. So I think for now I'm just gonna like copy pasta this in here, including like this part, and like even this part. I think I need. Maybe this is well enough to find elsewhere. Let's see. And now I almost certainly need to like destroy the container and recreate it. Because I'm changing the inner workings of the development server, and I bet this like blows everything up. But let's see what happens. That'll do it. I bet this like craps out. This can't work. That can't be that easy. Yeah, undeclared identifier handle request with resources. Wait, is this this is still catching up. Undeclared identifier resource. Yeah, that's what I figured. Okay. So I got to include more. Let's pull in. Alright, I just need it all in here. Oh. Alright, it's been fun. Steph. It's good to meet you. Thanks, you too. Thanks for your help, by the way. That was some good tips. Some good catches. I should have asked while you're here, like, what is it that you're working on these days? I'm super curious what other people are building in this language. Maybe we'll catch up next time. Maybe I'll see you in the Discord. All right. What was I doing? I'm making the development server aware of these things that I added here. And so I think I need, I hope that that's defined already. I'm gonna need that, huh? Load source notes, define resource with a capital R. Okay, let's try now. No, I probably have to like rebuild, don't I? Let's kill it. Remove it. Start it up again. See where we are. Restarting. Oh yeah, this is like in, what is it, like // notes that I need? Is that gonna pick it up or am I gonna have to start over again? Huh. Okay, so we've now pulled in notes twice. I think that makes... yeah? Hey, we're awaiting connections. Let's restart one more time. Let me like destroy, clear out those dirty logs, and recreate... whoops. Okay, we have our workspace. It's awaiting connections. If I refresh this page, what do we see? Undeclared identifier. Uh-oh. Generate routes. Handle requests with resources. Okay, what's going on here? Didn't I define that? Oh, I think I was hoping that I wouldn't have to define it twice, yeah? Okay. Oh. Okay. Which is not defined in the scopes for types table. Oh, yeah, of course. You can't... Man, what language do I think I'm writing now? Of course you can't... bracket into a table. That's not how this works at all. Alright, response body, headers, bracket. Okay, so path is going to be... Let's call it just like request URI. Gets table find isn't table find value? Yeah. Okay, cool. Headers. I think this has to be like a pointer. And then response body is a string. If request URI is present, else response body should get like 500. All right, let's try that. What do we got? Table. Oh yeah, this doesn't want to be a pointer actually. Okay, try again. Oh man, of course not. That's not a string. All right, refresh again. Hey, okay. Woo! We have a route. We've defined it as a resource and a controller and a file. The server picks it up. And now if I define some other controller, let's say, I don't know, users control, whatever. Doesn't even matter. Is this gonna work? Oh, no, it's not. What did I get wrong? Oh yeah, this wants to be string. Hey! What a world! We have reloaded! We have multiple routes! I'm going to clear out some of this printing in here. I think I no longer want to see all the headers on every single request. This is exciting! What a fun day! How do I like J so far? It's cool. I mean, moments like this feel great. I just had a pretty big breakthrough. Ran out of coffee, though. No, it's good. It's, wait, let me see what a 404 looks like. 404! And, like, just delete that entirely. Amazing. No, it's good. I find it, like completely, like, oh, wow. What have I done here? I really have quite a few workspaces happening. I do. I find it sort of, like, deeply incoherent, at times. And it's totally, like, it's wild to me the things that it's capable of doing statically. Like, concretely, even what we just did is to build up like a routing function, a routing procedure based on these annotations. And like that is like sort of, that's like a thing that like Java does, that like other languages do. But like I don't think, like, I'm unaware of frameworks where, I think it probably got snuck into here. No, is it in W4? Yeah, right. I'm unaware of other languages where you can like look at and inspect the code that was generated here. You know, like this like boggles my mind. And this probably isn't the feature of it that I'm most impressed by. Like, I think the thing that got me most impressed is some of the stuff I was doing with SQL was like here. So these are all statically known at compile time. And so it's like, this was it. So like a common problem at my last job was there was like always tension between platform engineers who would manage the database and product engineers like me who would like try to deliver app features, where the product engineers wanted like powerful tools for composing SQL queries that would like glue together different bits of like, I want to like meet these 3 different abstract conditions about records from a table being returned. And like platform engineers would be like, well, we can't just let you write any old query that you want because you're going to bring down our database. And if you use a really expressive and powerful tool like ActiveRecord, we have no way of knowing what queries are going to get run against the database. And this is like the coolest. This is the part, my first like magic trick moment in messing with J, is that I was able to, oh, whoops. What am I doing? That is not a constant, but I think this can be. No? Dang. Swing and a miss. What am I thinking of here? Is it inside this method? Yeah, inside of this procedure, I think is where I have like runtime access to it. Where, yeah, so like here, I can just, in like a one-line change, I can take code that's already like effectively generating SQL to query the database and generate this report that will give me like every possible like query that is like ever going to be generated from this code base. Like this is the biggest one. This is like the most interesting query that we generate, and you can see, right, this is like a non-trivial query, right? So we're selecting something other than star from users where there's like a like expression with like a parameter in here, and it exists on a subselect, and then it exists on the same on a subselect on the same table. And like this query like was not like I didn't have to like write out this entire query. I think I composed this in like a tricky way. Yeah, well, so this is maybe, you might call this a way of debugging, but I see this as sort of like a kind of tool that like, so I'm coming at this from like a web development background, and in particular like a Rails-centric web development background, where Rails is like incredible in how expressive and powerful and descriptive it is, but with that cost means that like Ruby is almost by definition like impossible to statically analyze. Like that's like how it works. Um, and I think that like this you could hand off to like a platform engineering team or an SRE team or like some maintainability focused team to see like, all right, like they could build an automated tool which would then statically analyze these query strings that get run, and it would run like a SQL like a Postgres like explain on them, and we could say pretty easily, you could even like automate into your build script, your build program, your meta program, to inspect each line of generated SQL and say like, okay, cool, like if an explain on this against a production like database returns a sequential scan on a large table, fail to build, don't let it build, which to me is like maybe a bad idea, but conceptually like extremely powerful. And then you're not just debugging, right? You're like preventing the slow sequential scan that might bring down your production database. You're like preventing that from ever making it into production with like extremely flexible static analysis. Um, so I'm actually like not printing out that report all the time these days. Oh, and I've like broken stuff. Oh man, yeah, because my test code base doesn't do this either. Um, there are definitely some like ergonomic losses, right? And the fact that like right now what I'm struggling with is that I made a meaningful change to the meta program of my production code, and I need to copy it to like 3 other places because like I have a few meta programs to find, one for running tests and one for other things. Um, but no, I find myself generally like really blown away. One of my favorite features actually, the other cool, so I've mostly been working on like database work here. The thing that really like a light bulb went off for me, um, so there's like cool static analysis features for that, and then there's also like I did some maybe irresponsible, I'm still wrapping my head around whether I think this was a good idea. Get that out of there. I wrote some tests on this that are pretty descriptive, I think. So another one of my favorite features from Rails is that you can easily, like the Rails syntax for this is something like, you do like users, like user dot, like all dot preload, and like, so in this case, I'm like working on like my toy schema is about a to-do list app. And so let's say that like you have like a table called to-dos, and those to-dos can be like tagged. And so you might have a schema where like, you have like a user class, which like has many to-dos, and then like a to-do class, which like has many like tags. So Rails lets you write that one query, which will fetch from the database the users and all of the to-dos associated with all of the users returned and all of the tags associated with those to-dos. which is like magic to me. And you can define like arbitrarily complex relations between tables like that. And J is able to do that, except return things in like C structs, right? Not return them in these like fuzzy Ruby objects that have like a million things going on and take up like a megabyte of memory each. But here, right, like I can define a to-do struct. I can define a has many relationship between the to-dos and taggings. I can define taggings and a tag. I can like define all these bits. And then consuming it is a little ugly right now, but I think I'll be able to improve the syntax of this. But you just call this preload procedure that I wrote, and then you can describe like I want to nest within the taggings that belong, like the has many taggings relationship. This like taggings belong to tag, which isn't exactly what I wrote up here. And then here, like the cool trick is that, so like I find a returned to do, and like even though the struct that I described up here that represents a to do only has an ID and a description, this preload procedure returns something that has a taggings like value on it, which is an array of these like tagging records, and these taggings each have like a tag on them, which have a description, and like all of these like deeply nested structs are like, it's like all those types are generated for you. They're built for you. Where like slightly more specifically, like it traverses and says that like you describe a to do and you describe this relationship and you call that relation taggings, and this code then instructs the preload procedure to describe like a custom type that's like statically generated for you that has this like taggings array. Actually, interfaces I find myself like really missing. Like the fact that there's no separation of like interface from behavior, I find to be kind of a bummer right now. Like I wish there was a way to say, like I want to describe a type and it needs to have these named fields, and like I don't care how we get to them. Yeah. No, the thing that this has is dynamicity at compile time with types, but not, there's like no interfaces, which is like weird. But like, right, you're able to like decorate these things. And the code that generates this is honestly like, as I was writing it, I was like, is my mind leaving my body right now? Because like, it doesn't make any sense to me at all anymore. Like in here, this like nested preloader, I like lost my mind. Like the amount of inserting and running and printing, like here I'm like inserting a run directive to generate a string, but within here, I can't even just, I have to insert another run directive to look things up. Like it's just, this whole thing makes me dizzy. All of this is just describing this like destination struct type, um, which we then like glue everything together when we're doing this nested preloading. It's just like real face melting for me at least. And I think that I'm like, of my programming strengths, understanding metaprogramming is like something like an unusual skill that I have. And boy, when I was writing this, I was like out of my mind confused. I was like deeply had no idea what was happening. Um, but I don't know. I think um, I have like a usable, I have like a workable understanding of what's going on with it. And I feel great at the ability of this language to like statically, yeah, seems way over your head. Yeah, so like the cool thing, and maybe like the short answer here is that like one really common problem in actually, I think that my main method has like a good example of this. One really common problem in programming stuff, yeah, I think I messed around with that in here. Um, yeah, so this is like sort of hard to read, and I think I can clean up the syntax, like I mentioned earlier, is like fetching all of the like, in many web app situations, you want to fetch like in this to-do list app, like if I imagine the yeah. Uh, I mean, I've gotten really far using wacky stuff no one really understands. But you've certainly got a point. Um, but yeah, I guess like to like one thing that might be more relatable is that, like a common thing here is if we're imagining a UI where it's like you have like some to-do list app and it's like to-dos, and there's like a box and it says like, I don't know, like do something, and there's like tag like new, tag fun, and like do another thing. So like this data is likely in databases. There's like a to-dos table that has these items, and then they're associated with like tags that are glued to them via some like other tables with other distant relations and stuff. And then maybe here there's like a my tags. And then maybe here you also want to be able to see like new is associated with like do something, and like other like to do items or something that are like glued to this tag. Um, you don't need top-notch performance. Yeah, one thing that I find really compelling about this language though is that like it doesn't make you choose. Here, let me like I wanna like get to the end of this. I'm glad somebody puts in the work on this stuff. Yeah. Uh, yeah. Yeah, I just think yeah. I don't know. I think this experience for me is pretty weird because it feels a little bit like those wacky tools. I think my general outlook is like those tools are good enough, right? And like virtually nobody really needs that performance. But what I found is that like in most places where I've worked, like if you nobody needs that performance until they're successful, and then once you make it to some level of success, like the fact that nobody has any idea what's happening under the hood means that you're destined to fail. Like, it's utterly terrible. I think it's maybe a little different for games, right? Because like for games, you sort of like stamp like a finished product that's like good enough, and then it's out the door. That's I think changing somewhat with like live service games, where like people need to maintain the same game for like years and years and years, like Fortnite and like Destiny and those games. Like I have a perception that like I bet that those game engine developers are like sort of in over their head in terms of maintaining. But like everywhere that I've worked that builds web apps, like um, yeah, they just like run right off a cliff of no one understands how things happen anymore, and they accidentally write like deeply slow code. Um, and yeah, I just hope this is like a way out, right? Where you can balance. It seems like it might strike a pretty compelling balance between expressive enough to describe, like, I don't know, just like these few lines describe, like, I want to load users, and alongside users, I want their to-dos. I want the taggings on the to-dos, and I want the tags through those taggings, and then separately, I want the tags that this user has created. And I just want this all in one list of users. Um, and from there, like there's a pretty cool, I think there's like a compelling story that this framework lets you trust that this is all going to run efficient SQL. And like building SQL is like hard, but it means like as a developer, I don't need to learn all the SQL that it's going to be generating, and that it'll throw this into like a reasonable representation in memory, where like a user gets a list of to-dos, a to-do gets a list of taggings, the taggings like get descriptions and tags and stuff, and then it just like works. Compile this and it'll just run. I spent like all day yesterday. It's definitely true. And the trade-off that I'm spending between like writing code and configuring an environment is like it speaks to that. So I'm running this on a Mac inside of a Docker Compose environment with like an Nginx service and a database service and stuff. Um, yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I figure once I get to the point of like rendering like CSS and like styles and stuff, I, there's gonna need to be some kind of like how do I have like an asset pipeline and stuff, right? Like how am I gonna render like where do I load JavaScript and CSS and images and other things from in order to ship them to the front end and make it all work? I am tempted to like just punt on that problem entirely with the work that I'm doing here in J and say like web service thing that I'm building is like API only for now. Bring your own front end and just like point your API at this. Um, and if that's the case, then like yeah, this is just like a single process running on a server somewhere, and like life is good. Yeah. Um, I don't know. I really do. I do find myself torn when I approach problems when this in this language that like generally I feel the slow performance fancy stacks that nobody understands, they've gotten us so far. Like they're kind of okay. But I do feel like this like does kind of unlock a better world. All right, I think what I need to do now is to pull out all this duplicated code between my 3 different build environments that need to do really comparable stuff. So like what all is the shared code here? There's like the spec run. there's build.j, and then there's development SCGI server. Are each creating workspaces that add main.j and add like vendor. I need to do some tricky stuff. I think it's like message processing is really it. I don't know. Let me do, like, pull out like a, let's call that for now. I hate noun verber, but whatever. Okay, so struct, resources processor. It's gonna be a struct. It's gonna take, I don't know, what even is it gonna have? It needs, it's gonna have like this stuff. Should be build.j. It's gonna have these, which is currently just that. Yeah. Okay, great. Okay, I feel pretty good about this. I think I know what's gonna happen here. I'm gonna have like this struct. I'm gonna have a couple procedures that operate on this struct. Maybe just like one, right? Like handle message. And like so, this is gonna have resources, and it's gonna have a workspace. Okay, and it's gonna need to be able to handle a message, which I think I don't even want. I think I want to just have it be like a proper like message. Yeah, okay, great. Cool, and here is where I will just like pull these 2 bits. Yeah, okay. Using okay. This seems pretty doable, and that's gonna be called like this will be has generated routes. All right, this seems pretty manageable. Okay, great. So, yep. Okay, so don't think I need that anymore. Resources should still map because of using. And I need this generate routes method. This needs to be has generated routes. Alright, if it's phase and it's that, and not has generated routes. Oh, I already have that, didn't I? Great. Okay. And I think this now cannot have to take that stuff, but can take resources processor. Oh, maybe I should be like asserting if message.workspace is not equal to workspace, return. Great, that sounds good. Okay, using resources processor here, and this is where I can pull in this method. I'll just grab its body. This feels pretty good to me. Oh, see you later, core activities. Okay. And now I want to say Cool. Can delete this. I no longer need these, but I do need a resources processor. Dot workspace gets target workspace, and don't need anything else. That's pretty good. Okay. I need to call handle message on resources processor with the pointer and message. Alright, and then this, I don't think I need any more, right? Yeah, cut both of these. Alright, this is fun. This is not interesting. I don't need these. Don't need that. Okay. That feels pretty good. That feels pretty good. Alright, let's add it to run the spec runner. So we load spec run from here, don't we? Yeah, so we've already got the stuff that we need for that. So I think we can just add these bits in here. And this is not target workspace anymore, but what, like workspace under spec? Specs workspace. And here we can say like if not message, break, handle message, resources processor, and message. And then, cool, we're good, we're done. This is great, life is good. And we lastly need this on the development server. Do we need these? I feel like we probably need the resources processor, but maybe not much else. Yeah, cut this. Cut. That's still a little copy pasta full at the end of this, won't it be? Alright. I no longer need some of this business. This turns into resources processor. Gets handle workspace. And I want to say handle message with resources processor and message. I don't need these anymore. And I don't think I need this anymore. Does this look pretty good? This does look pretty good, yeah? Okay, okay. Let me... Am I going to use a single space character for the indents? Like in this code, it's 2 spaces, but I'm not in a fixed width font. 2 spaces. So the spaces are pretty narrow. Is it hard to read? I do. Some former coworkers have expressed concern for my mental health that I don't use. They're like, are you okay for not using fixed width font for code? I just love my mixed width life. It seems like it works. All right, let's get out of here. Let me bring down the workspace. Yes. And bring it back up again. Uh-oh. Running, restarting, running, restarting. Uh-oh. Of course. This needs to just be .. doesn't it? think we're up. We did it. All right. And we have like slash users. Cool. We have multiple routes rendering from some shared code with this common meta program handling business. I love it. 4 character long fixed width tab to live. No way. That's so deep. I mean, I feel like I never know. I feel like in this case where it's like a small indent, life is great. There are definitely cases where like if functions get long, I'm hopeless. But man, if functions get long, like I'm lost for other reasons before I'm lost for a lack of indentation. Like when I have really long functions, like this has some long ones where I'm like, where am I in this long procedural block? But like, man, that's just because like this is describing some nonsense, and it only makes any sense to me because it's like we do like a few things and then we return. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like places where the conditional, where like the depth matters, is often like procedural conditional logic code, and I just can't. I can't help you. Right, like here, I'm out of luck. I'm like hopeless in this, but I'm hopeless in this kind of code, regardless of indentation. Like, it's not gonna work for me either way. Okay, let me. I have my structure.sql. That feels great. I cleaned up. I added this resources processor. I added 2 controllers for some reason that do nothing of any value. I have my match note. Yeah, I do have some copy pasta there. Alright, this feels like it's all being held together with like duct tape and baling wire, but dev server. No, routing from the dev server is really it, isn't it? Alright. So what's next? I think we gotta actually like do stuff now. So there's like a lot missing from this abstraction. So for one thing, we only ever return a 200 status. Yeah. Because where am I even looking? In here? We always say status 200 okay, content type text plain, response body. You know, so like if we want to return any kinds of resources, if we want to mess with like content types and, you know, statuses, anything, it's no good. So for one, it seems like we're just about ready for like an abstraction around response to have like headers and a body. Similarly, like our request handling, well, like it only handles index actions. It can't give you any params. It can't give you any information at all. Where like this should really be passing in. Like, I mean, for one, we probably want to like take this table, and like make a struct out of it. You know, let's like flex some of this like C struct goodness from the environment from J. Right, and if I like blah blah blah, I don't know. There's like so much left to do here. For all these things. Man, I don't know. I don't know what's next. What's immediately next is I am going to use the bathroom, and I'll be right back. All right. I feel like before I go all in on like extending this abstraction, like enriching it, I think it's like time to I think I want to like flesh out the vertical layers of this prototype, right? Because it's like, I don't know, I've got some code that can access the database. I've got some code that can respond to HTTP requests. I think it's time to like glue it together, you know? I'm going to take this controller, have it actually do a database query, and return data pulled from the database. That feels like worthwhile to me, yeah? So this, I'm going to say defer free buffers on it. We're going to say alright, we'll say to-dos gets to-dos repo dot all. And for to-dos, I want to like print something into the response builder. Print the description, and then return the string of it. Yeah? Okay. So now if I reload the page, I should see there's just like no to-dos. Uh-oh. Full on blank? That seems wrong. What happened here? What? What? Oh, I forgot to... Uh-oh. Bad gateway. Why every time... Oh yeah, this paren. To-dos. There are none. Okay, that sounds about right. So now let's add some to-dos to the database and see what happens. I need a user first. Uh-oh. We're on like radically different versions. It's a little worrying. Oh well. Okay. The ID is 394. User ID, description, values, that, write a web app in J. It's true. Well, the to-do list reached 0 entries when I accidentally dropped my database. Hell, have hell freezer freeze, hell. Yeah, okay, great. Now if I reload, hey! It pulls from the database. That's exciting. Okay, let's implement the user's controller too. Let's like do something. Yeah, it's like it's exciting. Okay, grab all the users. This should say like users. I should say user. No, just like the email. Yeah, sounds about right. Oh, I'm full of syntax errors. What did I get? Oh my god. I love this hot reload. This feels great. This is exactly the kind of development experience that I was hoping for. Okay, and let's like not just get the user's repo, but let's like preload. User has many to-dos on this, and let's give like 2 new lines, and we'll say for user and users. And then like for to do and user to do's. Are we ready for this? Whew. Whew. Look at that nested data. No, 395. Whatever, something else. Get groceries. I don't know. Walk the dog. These are the things that I have to do in life. Hey! We have a web app serving data from the database. Incredible. Now we just have to do like actions and environment variables and authorization and, you know, connection pooling and job queue and, you know, the entire rest of a modern web stack. This feels great though, you know? This is like a it's like something. It's something. I wonder if I can like real quick say I'm returning not just text but HTML. And then that'll all concat into one line probably. Yeah, love it. And now I think can I like I don't know, get kind of clever with this. And like H1 here. Get some LIs and stuff. Get like nested list items even. I don't know. This is asking for too much. I don't want to freewheel some HTML right now. That's no thank you. Let's keep it text plain for now. I don't want to deal with styling and stuff. This feels like a pretty big milestone. A big part of me was expecting that somehow everything separately would work just fine. But as soon as I tried to glue the pieces together, no luck, no dice. What kind of baggage does the language come in? Package probably, yeah. Is it a compiler and a set of standard libraries as files? Yeah, so you get like a binary and then you get this like repo that he shares with you. And it's got a bunch of how-tos. It's got some examples of like programs in here. And yeah, that's kind of it. But yeah, so you get like a binary that works on either Windows or Linux. And then something about Mac OS, but it doesn't like run on Mac yet. I think you can like link for Mac, but it doesn't do it. And yeah, there's like documentation. These are all like libraries that ship with it. Gonna need to learn a lot of this stuff soon. Yeah, but okay, what am I gonna do now? Huh. This is okay, so this is like the added strings. I'm just like curious. These are all the added strings for the most recently created workspace, number 31, which is almost certainly the one that was created to handle this request that I just did. That it might have been the fav icon. But yeah, this is a... Okay. Look at all this generated code. That's fun. Compose nested preloaded to-dos and nested preloaded taggings and nested preloaded tag and preloaded user. That sounds like some metaprogrammed code that I wrote. I remember writing that. Woo. Yeah, I mean, this is like all the hard parts, right? This is like parsing database results, stitching them together in tricky, arbitrarily complex ways, all the way down here to, you know, routing. These are exactly the things I'd want in metaprogram. That's great. Okay. Okay. I don't know. Let me make sure that my specs passed. Yeah. I mean, it just like works, right? I wonder if I can like... Nah. Not gonna work as well as I want it to. This feels like... This might be my breakpoint for the night. This might be, you know, getting data from the database rendered over an HTTP connection through Nginx into my browser on screen. I might be about ready to say, I've done enough. Gonna let my brain rest. Is there a syntax, perhaps temporary, that you aren't a fan of? Oh, in the language? I mean, sure, plenty of it. I'm not too hung up on like semicolons. Semicolons is an easy one, right? I mean, I think in general, I've like written enough different like kinds of languages with enough different syntax that like, you know, most of it's defensible. Like, you know, write enough SQL. SQL's got just nonsense syntax with its like conditionally necessary commas and all the sort of optional keywords all over the place, and it's like funny grammar. I don't know. I was really into like Haskell. No, not Haskell. I never got into that one. I was gonna say Erlang. I was into Erlang for a bit. Erlang's got just like truly bizarre syntax. It like tries to look like English. Its punctuation is all over the place. I think in general, like mandatory semicolons where they can be obviously inferred, I don't like them. They're sort of like annoying to me. But other than that, I don't know. Life is pretty good. All the pounds and dollar signs. There's like a lot of punctuation in this language that I like. I get why it's there. You need to denote these things somehow. Um, no, I think it's mostly fine. I think it's mostly fine. I think to the extent that I get frustrated with the language, it's just that it's like not done. Like the fact that you can't, like the extent to which I'm abusing structs as like duck typeable statically available data structures. Is like I'm passing around the type of a struct, which is like got a bunch of constant stuff set on it. That feels like, well, you know, clearly there's some kind of guaranteed statically constant typed bag of data that like we could be using here. There's like a few smells like that I'm like, well, that's a little bit arbitrary. But no, I think in general, I can't really complain about the syntax. You know, there's like more semicolons than I'd like. I feel like the semicolons are probably less temporary. They're probably more permanent. All right, I'm gonna push up what I've got. Make sure it seems reasonable. Yep, that's great. Actually render database backed data in controllers. Push it up. All right, and now in my repo, I've I've got controllers, yeah? Got some controllers in here. This is awesome. Well, I'm excited. Can't wait to do more. I'm telling my friends that I have a vertical prototype of a web framework that I built from scratch in a systems level language with this level of descriptiveness in it. Boy, I'm gonna go tell everyone I know. I feel proud of this. All right, I'm getting offline for the day, or at least for a little while. I hope everybody has a good rest of the day. Thanks for joining. Bye.